So I'm Barbara, and I've been talking about Gay Pride Weekend and all my lovely, lovely friends that I miss. And I got emotional in the memory. And after I recorded, I this is the podcast that I've been avoiding, but I know I've been leading up to it. If you're listening to my podcast, my main theme has been that God is real. That spirit is real, the universe is real, creation is real. There is a power that is more real than this conversation, this taping, this podcast, whatever you want to call it, that's invisible. And I did write some notes. It saved my life over and over and over again. Even when I wasn't, quote, spiritual, I was being protected. The second theme I've been focusing on has been that we need to protect ourselves. Those of us that are sensitive, those of us that are kind and caring. There are a lot of people out there who would love to destroy us. You can call it the devil, you could call them psychopaths, narcissists, sadists, you know all those terms. We need to protect our energy field when we're out in the world with people and our auras, and by praying, and there's all kinds of tools. So basically I've been kind of sharing with you, actually it's the only purpose of my podcast, is to plead with you to check out an intimate experience with the Spirit of God, the soul. This is my soul representation here. The spiritual heart, which is really in here. And so I wrote down 4 things that I'm going to share with you. If you are in any way, how do I say this? If you're in any way giving up, if you're feeling powerless, if you're pretty disgusted with your life, with the planet, and maybe worse, or depressed, or anxious, I'm just going to outline 4 experiences I've had, and then I'm going to break them down in the next week. I knew this was coming, and it was really the goal of the podcast. So I'm just going to hit on all 4 briefly. Putting aside childhood challenges, I did marry when I was 21, a boyfriend from 15, knew his family, the whole thing. So when we got married, I was concerned that he was going to be a professor, I was going to be a teacher, and that we would never have the lifestyle of finances that his parents had. They were pretty wealthy. And I was concerned that he might get resentful or it would be a problem. And so I suggested to him, well, I first said, you sure you want to go to graduate school for blah, 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 blah. And, we're going to have a very different lifestyle than your parents. And I don't think he even thought about that because he got everything he wanted. We were on the opposite end. He got everything I wanted. I was like, without. Had to work for everything. So I suggested law school. Did you ever think of law school? Et cetera, et cetera. And of course he did choose to go to law school. And I coached him. What you guys pay for today, thousands of dollars, I was doing for him for free, just out of intuition. And so basically I put him through 5 years of school where he didn't make a penny. I not only agreed to it, I'm the one who suggested it, like duh. His parents were wealthy. I should have told his parents to support me so I could go to school too. But I had this pride and this dignity from having grown up from blue-collar worker family, working hard for everything. And I didn't want the help. I wanted us to do it ourselves. I really didn't want them interfering in our lives. But he would have been fine with it. So what's the bottom line of this story, which I'll embellish next week, but I knew him for 10 years, 5 as a friend, a best friend. Then we get married, and now I'm putting him through school. He was Columbia. His parents were very wealthy, so they paid the tuition. But I was taking care of the house and buying the furniture and the food and the parties and, superwoman wife over here. And my own career, and going for my own master's, and teaching Hebrew school, and having a circle of friends. Just, I was doing all this. At some point, he got involved with another woman, but the part that I wanted to share with you tonight is we had an agreement, a verbal agreement, that after he went to school, he would put me through school. And I was considering either law school or medical school. Law school is 3 years. I have a fly here. Medical school, the total would have taken at least 10 years to go through the internship. And it's a very long process. So while he's going to school, I'm just kind of bantering back and forth with myself. What is it that I want to do? And by the time he was approaching graduation, he was already involved with someone else, and we had separated. And so what's the one phone call I'd like to share with you? This is so hard to share, but it's time. We're talking 50 years ago, folks, 50 years ago. And I did come out to LA. I made a whole new life for myself. I started with scratch. It's 4 o'clock in the morning here. I started from scratch. I never got all my furniture and clothes out here. Part of it, I couldn't afford the bill, gave most of it away, etc., etc. So I literally started with nothing again. And in a conversation, so the key is, I was going to court myself, again, representing myself, and he never showed up in court face to face. He was always hiding by the telephones so his lawyer could call him. And when was the conversation? Oh gosh. Basically, we didn't have it in writing. So people, if you make a commitment like the one I made, no matter how much in love you think you are or you are, get it in writing. Because I didn't have it in writing, the judge couldn't do anything because I couldn't prove it. It was my word against his. Now, he knew the agreement. So his final words for me were, I don't owe you a goddamn thing. You were nothing but a slave. These are the final words of my ex-husband. And the only way that you can get the impact of that is to know what kind of companion I was, partner, hostess, caring for the home, supporting him, typing his letters to the law firms, flying out to California to be interviewed. I mean, we're talking major, major, major support above and beyond what most women would do. But that's who I am. So it wasn't like an extraordinary thing for me. I was just doing Barbara. So those were his last words. I don't owe you a goddamn thing. You are nothing but a slave. Now, imagine someone not being big enough to acknowledge someone's help and support and caring, etc., etc. Now, to me, that was like, yes, it went right into my heart. But, it showed me how small he was. It's like to not be a generous enough spirit to say, thank you. Thank you for all you did. I'm about to become a multimillionaire, which he was at the top of his class. And good school, good firm, New York top firm. And I have not seen a penny in 50 years. Not a call, not anything. And today, you can find anybody. So I'm sharing this story with you. If you're hurting, been rejected, or been betrayed, what got me through that was, first of all, number one, I had my own life. I had a career. I made sure that I wasn't dependent on him. I wanted my own career, whether I was single or not. But ladies, don't be dependent on a man. Make sure you have your own career, that you can fare for yourself in the world. So that saved me, because when I moved to LA, I moved back into my career. But so is that not a rejection? Is that not a punch in the gut to say that? And then over the years, every once in a while, I wonder, like, is he ever going to acknowledge me? And of course I know he's not. But I'm sharing this to tell you is don't give up. And that's just story number one, is keep on going. Get up out of bed. Get up out of the doom and gloom. Keep on going no matter how anybody treats you. And I didn't have a spiritual life per se, but I was being watched over. I was being gifted with a whole new life, and that was spirit. That was spirit, and that was spirit's protection. So that was the first biggie event. The second event was my two uncles passed away. Now I'm in LA. I'm settled. I'm doing my life. Two uncles back east passed, and actually had more money than anybody even knew, because they lived quite miserlily with themselves, and Jewish, and just saved this money that nobody knew about. The bottom line story with that is my cousins, who were millionaires in their own right, hid and made wills disappear that I found out about through the probate office. The bottom line of that story was the woman literally said to me, I called her up, my cousins have no idea that I knew to do this. So I'm skipping around, guys, because this is just me getting rolling. I'm getting the engines lubricated here. I chose to call the probate office, and I mentioned who I was, and the woman says to me, oh, I know you. I saw your name and your brother's name on your uncle's will. So I'm listening to this, pretending like I know, but I didn't. My family said there was no will. So I called her 3 days in a row, asking her disguised questions just to hear her say it again. And each time, my name and my brother's name is on the will. By the fourth day when I called, something happened. And that's another thing. When you know God, he heightens your intuition so high. And so by the fourth day I'm calling, I didn't think, well, I'll tell you the other part. But anyway, by the fourth day, she says, oh, by the way, let me back up for a second. The lawyer who was doing the estate was in her office. It was really a conflict of interest, which I debated, but got nowhere. So going back to her, so she's like working under this lawyer. She must have discussed that I had called. So by the fourth day when I call, she says, oh, by the way, I made a mistake. There was no will. Where was the will? 3 days in a row, she said my name and my brother's name was on the will. And now the fourth day, there's no will. So, of course, my cousin, who's an attorney, did a whole lot of games a lot of games that he doesn't even know I know about to somehow secure, I would say 90% of the money to him and my aunt, to his side of the family, extracting it from my brother and I. And to this day, my brother may have been in on it. So it was myself as a female and 3 men. So that was the second thing. And this took years. It was more aggravating. It was almost like an inheritance is like a blessing and a gift. And they made it so ugly for me and wouldn't answer questions. And my brother was bullying me. And each of these things are movies in themselves. So now we have the divorce. He doesn't owe me a goddamn thing. Now I have my own family screaming out of my inheritance. So again, if you've given up, I'm telling you this story because I got up again and I kept on moving forward. By this time, I knew Spirit. By this time, I had a relationship with Spirit. Story number 3. I'm living in a Beverly Hills rent control apartment. I was so grateful. Rent control in Beverly Hills, in the best neighborhood, the best street, the best apartment I had with a terrace. I got so much done. I achieved so much from having that home space. And I was there 27 years, guys. So, of course, she wanted me out. The daughter was a baby when I moved in. Then she went to the daughter of the landlord. Then she went to law school. And then she decided she was going to take over all the properties in Beverly Hills that they owned. And by now, most of the elderly people in my building had passed. So it was just myself and another woman that were young. And the other woman had 2 children, so there was a lot of traffic. She targeted me. I was under major surveillance. There were cameras in my apartment. There were cameras around my apartment. There were cameras in the little courtyard. There were cameras by my back staircase. I'll unfold this, unpack this, how I found them. She tortured me to get out of that apartment. And at that point, I was paying $850. I was on a really low teacher salary. I lost all my tenure by moving from New York to LA. And I just couldn't find another place. And I just didn't want to leave Beverly Hills. And I didn't want to lose that apartment. So I held on and I held on. The longer I held on, the more things she did, criminal things, almost poisoning me to death in that apartment. So why am I telling you this one? This is the 3rd story where the devil is trying to put me out of commission so that I wouldn't be here with you talking to you tonight. So that's my 3rd story that I'll elaborate on to tell you. But again, if you are giving up and if you're fed up, I'm telling you, you must have a relationship with Spirit. You must, because the only way I survived these things is because I had a faith that was above and beyond the circumstances. Not that I was happy, not that I was peaceful. I was stressed out, but I got through it. And I ended up literally walking out of that apartment one day. Doors open, come on in. They were already stealing anyway. And so that's the 3rd story where God saved me. And I wasn't thinking about protection. I didn't think about it. The 4th thing, and the thing that really did me in and made me homeless for 15 years, is my own church of 37 years threw me under the bus. There was a president who just was at me for 37 years, spying on me, staring at me, studying me. And ultimately, I moved onto a property they owned, which they turned out to be slumlords. It was filthy, dirty. And I ended up having to call the Department of Housing because they wouldn't give me my refrigerator and stove, and they wouldn't give me water in the kitchen and the shower. So I end up having to report them because they would not work with me. My own church and my own spiritual teacher would not work with me to make this right. Now, had I been one of the rich inner circle people, they would have sent a limousine and put me up at a hotel. That's what they would have done. But I wasn't in that category. But I was well established in my studies, probably spent over $100,000 in seminars, retreats, tapes, videos, etc., etc. And I was always on the scene. I was devoted. I was committed. And it indisputable. But the president, who was my Judas, looked at it as an opportunity to really go for the jugular and blamed me for the problems on the property. So that broken heart that my own spiritual teacher would betray me had me in cognitive dissonance for 8 years. I became homeless. I lived in 15 or 16 different toxic places. I was renting rooms. I was in a mission. I was in the tent. I was in my car. I was down in San Pedro. I just was trying to stay alive on a daily basis. All I could think of was take 1 minute at a time, and walk through it. And by now, I'm on a walker. By now, I'm disabled from having had an accident on the property and a really bad hip injury because of it. And it just got horrible. And all I could think of was just keep moving, Barbara. Just keep moving. I forgot about them. I stayed away from them. And it ended up 2012. So it's like 2026. So we're talking like 14 to 15 years. I never got a call if I needed food. Do I need a place to stay? They knew damn well what they had done. And basically what was behind the whole thing was the president was so jealous and envious of me and my personality. He was the opposite of me. I was outgoing, I was friendly, I was loving. He was a snob. He had a pole up his ass from, I guess, being an Englishman. He just thought he was hot, you know what, and decided that he wanted to become me, which I heard he started to move into my personality, take on my qualities, while he was smearing me, gossiping about me, making mud of my name, slandering me. He just projected all his negativity and ugliness onto me, and people were buying it. And so I felt isolated. I felt uncomfortable. I did not reach out for help because I knew I'd be rejected. So that's the fourth story, but that was the one that really threw me into such an isolation and into such a silence that I just became one with spirit. Unbeknownst to me, I was trying to survive. I didn't know what God was doing to me behind the scenes, while they were trying to break me very publicly and harnessed an entire team of what they call flying monkeys, where people that were my friends turned against me. And there were professionals involved. Basically, they were going for my life. They wanted my I don't know how to say this. Whatever God has in store for me, they wanted it. And so they were going to destroy me so I would disappear, and they thought they would take it from me. They never expected me to live. They expected me to either do myself in or end up in a mental institution, and that's what the gossip was. The president, who was the ringleader, knew very well my education, my life experience, etc., because he would read my applications when I submitted to join a particular class. So he is the only one on the planet that has a 9-page resume of all my accomplishments in the world that he could not and still cannot touch. So while he was gossiping about me and putting me down, he really knew that I was gigantic. But he didn't tell anybody that part. So that's the 4th story I'll be telling you about, to keep you guys to not let the devil and the evil get you in such a manner that you might even consider unaliving yourself for these bastards. So please, a relationship with spirit, protection. Look at my other podcasts. And so where I'm at now is talking to you, telling you about these stories, telling you what spirit has done for me, saved my ass from these ugly, cruel men, all men. And here I am on a podcast that people are watching from everywhere. And I am not even marketing or promoting these yet. I don't know how to do it. I don't know the technology, but just the little that I've been doing, people are actually seeing. And I know that so many of you listening can relate to being betrayed, to being rejected, to being maligned and slandered and smeared by people that you trusted. And I am devoted to telling you my stories, to giving you all the tools that I have learned over the years spiritually and over lifetimes. They are my gift to you over the years to come, because not everybody can afford $100,000 on spiritual studies. It was even more than that. So that's my commitment. My commitment is to give in gratitude for God saving my life. I have committed to God to give back to anyone who wants it, how to create a relationship with spirit, how to protect yourself from these god-awful people. And there's a saying that I have now that I heard from someone else: while they're trying to break you, God is building you. And that's what was happening. They were trying to break me, and God was building me to such an unbelievable level of faith that now I don't care what people think. I speak my truth more boldly than ever. I am, I'm a different person. I'm a different person. And I am an advocate for the elderly, for the disabled, all the things that have happened to me. So that's where my life is moving now, is telling my truth, being authentic, staying clear. So this is my 3rd suggestion. God first, protection. My 3rd piece of advice, and I say this to the whole planet, is we will not have peace as long as we keep forgiving these people, letting them get away with it, loving them and doing the spiritual thing. That is not how we are going to have peace. These people do not change and will not change. And I'm talking about a political arena as well. The only way we are going to save ourselves, and I'm talking about the lovers, the helpers, the only way we are going to get anywhere is to keep those people away from us as far as possible. Keep them out of your friendship circle. Keep them out of your businesses. Keep them out of your employment. This reinforcing their behavior and excusing them and excusing them and excusing them over and over and over is just making our lives hell on this planet. People need to be exposed. Corruption needs to be called out. It needs to be exposed. And people, when you have a relationship with spirit that's real, and I'm not talking about these spiritual people who pretend like they believe in God. I mean, this church, I don't even know if anybody in this church believes in God. When you have God as your partner and he has your back, you will not take any, oh, my throat wanted to close there. You will not take any crap from anyone because you will be so powerful from the inside out with spirit. You will see the phoniness. You will see the fakeness. There's an elite group in this church, the people with all the money. A good portion of them, there's a few single ones, are so phony and so fake. And they get all the favors. They get all the attention. They get all the jobs. And of course, in exchange, they tithe and they donate. And it's like this incestuous relationship that is so inauthentic. It's a game. I've got their pattern down. I have already predicted what they are going to do and are doing since I've been doing these podcasts. I've already listed what they are doing to counteract my slow motion exposure of them, which is backed up by pictures I have for you, documents. I still have the court papers, the eviction. I don't even know if I said this to you. They evicted me from this little tiny roach-infested studio under the pretense that I owed money, which I did not. But at the time, I wasn't as savvy legally as I am now. So even going to court is a movie of the miracle that God set up for me when I got to court. So I know I'm throwing a lot out. I'm doing this deliberately because there's a reason, which I'll share with you another time. So, husband not appreciating me, my own family taking my name or making the will disappear. Then I have a 27-year contract with an apartment where I'm under surveillance and being poisoned daily. This is all witnessed by friends. And the fourth thing was the church. So those are the biggies. There'll be books, there'll be movies. I'm going to do it all to expose all of them. I'm sharing this mostly to tell you, I would just want you to know how bad it was. Actually, there are no amount of movies or books I could write that would tell you what my life was like on a daily basis, let alone over this period of 50 years. Like one day of homelessness was hell. Where am I sleeping tonight? What am I going to do for money? It caused me to get ugly. I got fat. I don't know if you can see my face. This is not the same face I had. This is not the same body I had. I didn't eat right, still don't eat right. I mean, everything that we do to take care of ourselves, when you're homeless, you cannot do self-love and self-care in the manner that you can when you have a home base. I mean, right down to brushing my teeth was a luxury. Like, where am I going to brush my teeth? So I feel like this potentially could be very chaotic and rambly in my sharing this with you. I'm just kind of giving you my table of contents of a book with just these 4 events that really, the people behind it each party, my ex, my relatives, who was the third, my landlord, and my church, in each case, it was a conscious, deliberate intention to pull me down to zero. It was all jealousy, it was all envy, it was all greed, and it was all sick people who will do anything to save face, to not tell the truth about their responsibility. The thing about the church is they teach all these, spiritual teachings. They don't live them. Furthermore, they violate them. But because they're so polished and they have all these fancy buildings and et cetera, they think that they can hide the corruption that has been going on before I even got to this church. It was already corrupt. Now it's indisputable, and now what's happening as I'm speaking up, more and more people are contacting me confidentially because they already knew this was going on. They just didn't have what it took to call it out. And so I'm being encouraged and supported from the behind the scenes, from people who knew what they were doing to me. They're filling in the whole picture that I could not even have imagined that they were doing, because I too was brainwashed. In a cult, we'll be talking about cults. You get brainwashed. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how good you are, they are sophisticated in studying the psyche and the psychology of a human being, and then they study you to see where you're weak and where you're strong. My weakness, and probably everyone in that church, is we all loved our spiritual teacher that is deceased. And so we all kept our mouths shut about the corruption in order to be able to study with this particular teacher, who is now deceased. And as soon as he died, people scrambled, left LA, people don't show up as much. And right now, no one, they won't admit this, but no one's joining this church anymore. That has nothing to do with anybody except spirit. And I'm being told by spirit that spirit's shutting it down. He is not sending people there anymore until this is resolved and admitted, and whatever else God wants. I don't know. I'm not doing any revenge. I am exposing them, but I'm letting God divvy out the karma. But in the meantime, all their ministries that they are have created are, no one's coming in. And they're not admitting that to people. But it's pretty clear that they're so desperate. They're over advertising. They're overdoing their promotions. When someone overdoes it, they're desperate for people. And they don't get it that God was watching everything they were doing to me and have done to others. And at some point, Spirit says, you're done. I gave you chance after chance after chance. You had 15 years to help this woman that you destroyed, and you didn't. And I'm just going to watch it unfold. I'm just watching it unfold. And they involved other leaders in the other ministries to also embarrass me and humiliate me in front of hundreds of people. And I just kept silent. I kept my peace. I just observed because I was busy surviving. And I think they expected me, they expected me to live up to the negative narrative that they were telling about me. So of course I was supposed to act crazy, I guess, talk about it incessantly, blame them. I just disappeared. I just disappeared for 15 years. Now I'm coming out. Now I'm getting some semblance of my life slowly. I mean, maybe 5% is back. So anyway, I'm telling you all this, whoever is hearing this, please don't give up. Please use me as a testimony that God is real, and protect yourselves from negative people. Don't let anybody talk you into excusing, I don't even have the word for them, excusing cruel people. Don't do it anymore. Don't make any more excuses. Don't let yourself be gaslit. And I'll be going more into this, but I just felt compelled as I was talking about my friends that are gay and so loving, and so much joy came in my life because of them. And then I'm with these bastards. It's like black and white to me. It's so black and white that I am not going backwards. I will never again have anyone in my life who is cruel, unkind, disrespectful, and if they put on a good act, my intuition is heightened. Even if I miss it, when I find out, it is over and done. And another exposure. So, it's June 6th. It's probably 5 o'clock in the morning. And that was my table of contents of what I'm going to be speaking about, testifying about, and supporting you guys. Don't let these people destroy you. And I know there's millions of you out there who relate to this. And the first thing I'm pleading and praying, asking right now for God to be with us, is work your way out of these relationships that are toxic. Family, husbands, wives, jobs, communities, churches. The longer you stay around them, the further down you're going to go, because they do not want the light around them. It disturbs their lives. They do not want people who are loving and caring, because it puts a mirror in their face of how ugly they are in their attitude, in their actions, and in their behavior. So essentially, if you are very full of light and very loving, people who have agendas and are lying and deceitful and fake and phony, you trigger them. We trigger them, because when they see us, they see themselves, because we are mirrors. We work so hard to cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves that when they look at us, they don't see us. They see themselves, and they see how ugly their spirit is, and they cannot tolerate it. So therefore, they project onto us that we are the ones that are ugly, that we are the ones that are problematic, that we are the ones who are making the trouble. It's not that at all. They just don't want to do the work. They don't want to see the ugly shadow that they carry, and would rather project it onto the light bearers, the star seeds, the chosen ones, whatever title you want to give us. Those of us who have missions, big missions, are targets by the evil, devil, whatever you want to call that negativity, that works through these people. If you are a lover, if you have a conscience, if you are devoted to spirit, you can tell when that negativity wants to come in and tell you, be nasty to that person. Those of us who hear that catch it, and we don't act on it. That is the difference between a chosen person and a bastard. is the chosen person has a conscience and knows, no, I'm not going to take that action. I am not going to hurt that person for no reason. So when it's late at night, when I do these podcasts, I get very wordy. I go very fast. But tonight was just an introduction of my 4 experiences. There's little ones in between. But those are the 4 big basics. It was all men. It was all white men in positions of power and status and money. That's what they all had in common. And none of them had the generosity of spirit, the honesty, the dignity, or the integrity to value me, to honor me, and to give me credit where credit was due, because I helped all of them. I did so much service in all these areas for free, not expecting anything in return. So your greatest danger are the people who are hidden in institutions that supposedly have a high mission. That's the danger, is they're hidden behind these integritous missions that are full of shit. They are lying. They got comfortable with their positions. They got comfortable with the money, and they are basically corrupt. And they cannot tolerate people that are intelligent, creative, who have a tight relationship with spirit, because they can see that. They can't handle what they might consider competition. The other thing that's common in all of these is I was a woman. I was a woman, and they would never have done to a man what they did to me. That's another whole can of worms. So on that note, I'll end. This was way too long, but this was a long time coming. I got it out. I thank my gay friends and their love for me that made me finally say, tonight's the night. I'm giving the table of contents of what's to come. There are gigantic stories behind each one of these, and details, and evidence, and proof, and pictures, etc., etc. And now lots of witnesses. As I've been doing these podcasts, more and more people are admitting to me that they heard the gossip, and a couple actually have apologized already for participating in the gossip. I hate to tell them, but they already mark themselves for the karma because they participated in it. And so I'm just staying neutral on everything, and but calling it out. So anyway, great Pride Week, and that was a load. That was a load. Oh my God, oh my God. To unravel this and unpack this. The only reason I am going to unpack this is purely to give all of you an opportunity to take my experience and twist it every which way like a rag. Just squeeze out everything that I say so that you can squeeze out all your pain and get rid of it and release it and let it go, because I am validating you. You did not imagine what happened. No matter how sophisticated it looked, no matter high up on the totem pole these people think they are, you did not imagine what they were doing to you. So we're going together unravel this, unpack this, and heal and move forward stronger than ever. That is my goal for myself. That is my goal for you. And whatever I can do to support you to get free of these cruel perpetrators, I am here. I am here. I've created a safe place for you. There is a portal that has been opened because I have been praying. And the portal is only open to people who are sincere in wanting to heal, are sincere in wanting to respect and treat people well, who are sincere in wanting to do good for humanity. Those are the only people who are going to be going through this portal. The rest are going to be stopped at the door to take accountability, to make, reformations. None of us need apologies, but it needs to be balanced out. All this stuff needs to be balanced out before they go forward. This is just scientific cause and effect. So that was a mouthful. The purpose was to tell you, I am telling you that God is real. Protect yourself and don't involve yourself anymore. It's a slow process to unravel from these people, but get away from them because there are great, loving people out there, and we need to raise our vibration in such a manner that we attract them. As long as we have been in the circle of these negative people, our vibrations were too low to attract the people that really match us. And that's part of their goal, is to keep our vibration down so that we don't get and attract the opportunities that they know are waiting for us. So there's blessings coming, there's wealth coming, there's health coming. Once we unravel from these people, let them all go live on an island together and they can make each other miserable. But we are going to be happy and healthy and wealthy. And so on that note, I love you. I'm here for you. And happy Pride Week. God bless you. Bye-bye.